Hi everybody from a beautiful but blindingly bright evening here in Central Portugal. The weather's been amazing and I've been down on my third terrace trying to clear up a whole bunch of clutter down there. I've strimmed, I've done a burn pile, I've moved stuff around, and I just feel a lot better having done that. Plus we go down to Sinead's place to check on her lake and to see what exciting things she's working on down there. And I also test out some clay that I picked up at the side of the road to see if that's going to work for me. And I talk about poop. Poop is one of the most common questions that I get. Where does the poop go? What happens to the poop? So I get into that in this video, and I think it's a fun one where all of your poop related questions shall be answered. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you again at the end of the video. Good morning everybody from another sunshiny day after a bit of a drizzly one yesterday. There's a lot happening down in the valley. We've got some workers fixing my neighbor's roof that blew off a while ago. We've got the other neighbors on this side pruning some olive trees, which I'm going to get to soon, hopefully as well. I can hear the music going down at Chenade, so she's going to be up to something interesting. We'll check on her later on. And for me, my goal is to trim a little bit of this unruly grass and try to clear out around my trees, put some horse poo pellets in there with maybe a little bit more compost, and free them up from all the weeds. So I have a pretty big day of work ahead. Okay, let's trim. So trimming wet grass is definitely messy, but it's also pretty fun. So my goal right now isn't to trim everything. I've got 4 batteries that I want to get through, which should be about 40 minutes of trimming. And I feel like I want to focus on just the parts that I walk and getting around the trees. It's just so satisfying. It's one of my favorite jobs, and it's even more satisfying when you get nice and gross with the grass. All right, let's go that way. Oops, I kind of annihilated one of my chili pots. But yeah, it just shows you the power of this stuff. I've got the thicker string on. Usually it would be a little thinner, but this is definitely doing the trick for this juicy grass. So the batteries just died, and they actually only lasted about 50 minutes, which is about 25% shorter than usual, probably because the grass is so lush and difficult to get through, so it's more of a strain on the strimmer. So I've got a bit more to do, and I'm just going to power through it. But before I put the camera away and just continue working, I wanted to point out these buckets behind me. I definitely have to be a lot more careful around these ones and hope that I don't bust them open with the strimmer string, because these ones are full of my poo. I have 5 years of poo buckets behind me, and they're turning into luscious, wonderful humanure. Some people might get freaked out about the pooping in a bucket and composting it, but it's a fairly common thing around these parts to do, and it's a pretty common off-grid thing as well. Might be gross? I don't think so. I think it's just, we're part of nature. It's just returning things back into the cycle of nature, and I do get that question quite commonly about what happens to my poo. Where do I poo? Where do I go to the bathroom? And this is your answer, guys. It goes in a bucket, and I save it up like a weirdo, and then I'm gonna spread it around my trees. So there's your answer. So I'm gonna swap the batteries out, and I guess I have another 15 minutes or so of work. So I'm gonna focus down around the trees, and I might also see if I can creep up a little further up the path just to make it easier to walk. It's a gorgeous sunny day, and I'm really, really enjoying this. And I'll see you again soon with a slightly more cleared terrace down here. Hi everybody from a beautiful day here in Central Portugal. Not a cloud in the sky. The sun is out, and I'm off to a slow start as usual. It's about 1:30, but I've been busy. I've been out in the world searching for clay. I got this from the side of the road where there was a little landslide, and I'm not entirely convinced it's going to be clayey enough. Seems pretty sandy, but I'll get some water in there and give it a try. I picked up some compost yesterday when I was in town, and I also got loads of glorious, glorious cardboard from a friend, and I'm going to stick that in the garden and around the trees as well. But before I get to work on the land, I'm going to go down to Chenade's place, let you guys know what she's up to, and I'm going to gift her one of these cactuses. Which one? Let's go with this guy here, and hopefully I can make it down to her place without completely annihilating myself on these spikes. So I'm very happy that Sinead wants one of these little mini jaggy jacks, because I've offered a few friends and they have rejected the spiky little plants. They're not interested in adding an element of danger into their gardens. But Sinead and I, we like to live life on the edge, and we both love a cactus. So besides delivering this little beauty to Sinead, I'm also heading down to pick up some tools I need to continue my work. But I thought it would be a great time to see what she's been up to, because there have been some major developments. Hello there.
Hello.
How's it going?
Wheeling. We're wheeling through this day.
Look at this. So, this is a future
chicken coop.
Right. You move fast, Sinead, you move fast.
Digging holes, moving soil. Digging holes, moving soil.
Luckily, these are two of your greatest passions. Can I give you this thing before it's before it injures me?
You know, with the chickens?
Hey,
Make them brave?
Maybe. I mean, it would add an element of danger into life as a chicken down here.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is
So walk us through.
chicken area.
Right?
For someone that's never owned a single pet in her life, this is quite a commitment. Yeah, so this is where they're going to go. I'm actually doing chicken sitting first, because I'm not ready to commit to my own chickens.
So chicken babysitting for
I'm chicken
a friend.
babysitting for now, and see if we get on. And then there's going to be a chicken area. And I've got my garden going on here. This is all going to be flowers. This is an elderberry. I have another elderberry over in that corner. I'm going to move it here. And you know, I'm a bit arch obsessed. I'm going to make this elderberry archway.
Oh.
Might take a while, a couple of years.
Okay, cool. And then what's this one here?
This is a shrub that was given to me by my beautiful friend Emily. Because it's called, I thought it was called an Amelie. But then my friend told me yesterday it's called a Camille. This seems to be missing a C. So we bought it because it was very like her name. But now it's got a C. So we're going to have to change Emily's name
to Kemily.
Kemily.
Okay, that seems fair. I'm sure she'd be up for that. And it's going to be a lovely sight when you walk out of the yurt.
It's going to be a thing of beauty, man.
You'll have your chickens to greet you.
Yeah.
Lots of flowers. The chickens have a nice shady area.
Yes.
And yeah.
It's going to be amazing. And then the archway was the other project I was working on.
Okay, and then that's over here. So we've got some more beds on both sides of the polytunnel.
Yeah.
But the archway, unfortunately, could not make it down our track. It's currently in a state of holiness.
The track.
The track
Not
is
the arch.
The track is not good.
The archway is still in my mind.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is what I've been working on, filling these beds.
And you're doing some sticks?
I didn't stick, so I came up with all these bed ideas. I was going to do beds all over the place, and I never thought about where am I going to get all the soil. So the soil on that side of the land is better than the soil on this side of the land. So I'm a wheelbarrowing junkie at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be done. It's got to be done.
Yeah.
These beds don't make themselves, guys.
So I have a feeling archway will happen maybe next week.
That's exciting.
Yeah, maybe next week.
So here's where she's at.
Yeah.
Beds built,
Beds are built.
sticks in,
Yeah.
soil imminent. So while I'm down here, I thought I would have a little wander over to Chenade's lake because a few of you have asked for an update on that. And I think it's such a cool project, and it's definitely gonna change our lives if this lake works out as planned, because it's big enough to get in there and actually do laps in. And I would love, I love my little splash pool, but it would be great to be able to have a lake to jump into. And it's not looking quite so appealing at the moment, but she has loads of amazing plans for this. She's in touch with somebody who's a pro when it comes to natural swimming pools, and her intention is to plant all around it and do what she needs to do to help keep the water clean. Right now, the lake got a little crazy when the rains came. It was really high, and so she's had to put in a pipe to actually siphon it out so it drains to where it's supposed to be rather than overflowing over the bank. So it's been a learning curve, but she's got some good people working with her on this, and we're in the observation stage. And at the end of the winter, as the summer creeps in, she's gonna get to work on building a retaining wall down where the mouth of the water mine is. I don't exactly know what the next steps are, but Sinead's on it. She's got a plan, and it's gonna be such a cool feature to her land once it's all finished. And I'm really hopeful that we'll be swimming in there this summer, but we'll see. All right, so I think it's about time I actually got to work. My plan is to scrape away the sticks from the bottom of my apple and almond trees, get some human manure down around the trees mixed in with some compost that I bought from the shops, cover it all up with this cardboard before the cardboard blows away, and then put sticks back on top. And yeah, hopefully the trees like that, and it's a nice way of getting rid of my human manure and using the cardboard to keep the weeds down as well. So I don't know what's going on over there. Maybe some strimming. It's really nice to see all the neighbors out. It's a beautiful day, and everybody's getting a lot of stuff done. So you've seen Chenade, you can hear the neighbor going there, and it's time for me to actually do something. So upon further inspection, this is the barrel that's the most ready to go. It makes sense that it's the first one I used. It's tucked away closest to the tree. That's what I'm going on, because though it would have been wise to actually label these things 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I did not, so I'm kind of guessing. But it definitely looks like soil. There's no remnants of poo in here. It looks like beautiful, luscious, lovely compost. And I know it does freak some people out, but it's nature, it's a cycle, and I love that I can take my waste and stick it back into the land and have a closed cycle, a nice closed loop. So I don't know how close of a look anybody really wants to this, but I can tell you it's a bit wet looking, and that's just because I've had the lid off and on in the rain, and I think water has gotten in there. But it doesn't smell at all, and the consistency and the way it looks is pretty much exactly what I was hoping for. So I'm gonna get this mixed up with some regular compost from the shop, and it's going around my trees. Okay guys, I've mixed in a bit of the store-bought stuff with a bit of, I guess, my stuff. This is a little wet from being in the bucket, and though it's kind of weirdly damp, I assure you it's all processed. It smells amazing, it feels like soil, and it's almost ready to go on this tree. First, I need to cut back some of these guys using the tool of joy. Okay, Pooh, on you go. So I realize that this looks kind of lumpy and kind of weird, but I assure you, it's all broken down. If it wasn't, it would smell, first of all. And secondly, there'd be lumps of toilet paper in here. But as I mentioned earlier, it is one of the most common questions I get. Where do I poo? What do I do with the stuff? And so, guys, here's your answer. It goes in a bucket. It sits for 5 years, and then I stick it around my trees. And that was always my plan from the start. I don't think you need to leave them for 5 years. Usually 2 is fine, but it's definitely going to be broken down. No questions asked after sitting in there for so long. And yeah, it's just luscious, luscious, glorious stuff. And yeah, so it might be a little weird, but it's also a little wonderful as well. So it's definitely gotten really hot. These are the Februarys that I know and love. You can be out working in shorts and a t-shirt this time of year when the sun shines. And that's definitely what I prefer, even though obviously the rain is much needed in this part of the world. I feel like we had plenty. We had plenty, and I feel good about the amount of rain we've had, and now I'm ready for some sunshine. So let's get the trees wrapped up with cardboard. I've never put cardboard around the bases before. I always just kind of have put the sticks and hoped that that would work with the weeds, but it doesn't. So I feel like an extra layer of weed defense can't hurt. And I have lots of cardboard, so now is the time. So all these sticks are just what I chopped from my olive trees ages ago. I pruned them maybe a couple years ago, chopped it up nice and small, and it makes really fabulous, well, maybe not fabulous mulch because the weeds still do pop up, but it protects the soil around the trees. It creates a barrier so that when I'm strimming, I can see exactly where the tree is, and I'm more likely to stop around this perimeter rather than trying to get close with the string. And so overall, I'd say it's a pretty fine mulch, and it's a good way of using scraps from my place. So, the neem tree is ready for some compost and cardboard. The apple tree is also ready to go. So, I'm just gonna crack on with work, do these 2 beds, and I'll see you soon. Okay, the apple tree is done. I hope you're happy, Mr. Apple Tree. The neem tree is also done, though I could use a bit more mulch, but it's fine for the moment. The almond tree is done. And my next few tasks are going to be trying to prepare for a burn pile first thing tomorrow. And that means trying to take off some of the olive suckers that I missed when I did it a while ago. Plus, I'd love to cut back the grapes and maybe also get rid of some of the rubbish that's over there. And I have 3 of my human manure buckets that are left open. I'm hoping that they'll dry out a little bit overnight so that I can move the buckets and make a new compost pile over where all this crap is. But in order to make space for that, I have to have a burn pile. But before I get on with things down here, I want to head back up to that bucket of clay that I got earlier today and just check it out, see if it might work for me. I should know after adding a little bit of water and trying to break some of the clumps up with the shovel. I'm pretty used to knowing what the texture should be, and a lot of clays are more pure than others. Some you have to add sand into them, which is what I'm used to. But this one seems pretty sandy, so I'm hopeful that the mix might be perfect. So some of this stuff seems clay-like, but it also seems pretty sandy as well. So let's break it up, get it wet, and see what I'm dealing with. It's clay-y, but it's also very stony and very sandy and not as sticky as maybe I would like it to be. So it's not ideal for where I want it. This would probably be better maybe for repacking some old stone walls or something like that. Maybe I could, no, I don't want to add any more sand in because it's not sticky enough. So more sand is not what I need. And I have actually heard about people who are desperate for clay who've had it be too sandy. I've heard about drying the clay and then sifting the sand out using a screen, but that seems absolutely insane, especially since I actually do have some friends nearby who are willing to give me some more clay. I kind of just didn't want to keep asking them because I've already taken a lot, but they're happy to give it to me. I'm happy to take their generous offer of clay, so thanks Ron and Ronnie. I'll be seeing you soon because this clay isn't going to do it for me. So that's a little disappointing, but I'm happy I tried. And so I've got more work in the garden. I'll say goodbye from this absolutely stunning night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for some more work on my third terrace. Good afternoon, folks, from yet another gloriously sunny day here in Central Portugal. The weather's been perfect, and it's gotten to the point where it's actually too hot, so I've had to change from work this morning. I was up doing some pruning of the olive trees, and I also wanted to chop some of the smaller leafy branches down to size so I could use it as mulch around my neem tree. So now my neem tree has a lovely thick layer of olive leaf mulch around it. I've also topped up the mulch on my almond tree and my apple tree, and I've emptied 2 of the poo buckets and stuck them into a pile there. I'm going to mix it in with soil, and that's just going to be at the ready for the base of any of my trees. I've offered some of this special compost to Chenade to put around her flower bed gardens, and she's accepted. Because if you can't crap into a bucket, save it for 5 years, and then offer it to your friends, what sort of friendship is that really? So it'll be fun to see her flowers growing in her garden, knowing that I've had a hand in fertilizing them. So that'll be interesting. Anyway, I wanted to point out one thing over here. I've used this blue tarp. It's horrible. I put it down to keep the weeds down so that they didn't spring up underneath all the wood that I had, but I'm going to be picking this blue crap out of my terrace off my land for God knows how long into the future. So I'm definitely not going to be using a tarp like that for this purpose again outside. This wood is staying. I'm going to chop it smaller for firewood, and all this wood is going, and it's going to go up in flames because it's pretty manky looking, and I just have a lot of debris to clear. So let's do a burn pile. A lot of the wood going into this thing is pretty crappy and quite wet, so I'm expecting a lot of smoke, which isn't going to be super pleasant, but that's okay. When it's gone, it's gone, and I'll be very happy to have a cleaner terrace. So this is gonna take a while. I've got all this tiny debris to stick in the fire, and it's not going up quite as quickly as I had hoped, just because everything's a little bit wet still. So here's where I'm at with the piles of crap, with this looking pretty terrible over here. And I'm basically just gonna keep at it, keep throwing things into the fire, and I'll see you again soon with a clear terrace. Okay, the burn pile is coming along nicely. All that debris is currently in there as ash. Something that's a little less nice is this job, which is basically trying to pick through the dirt to pick up these horrible, horrible things. But I guess I'm making very, very slow progress. This will probably be something I just stop off at from time to time, see if I can find a few more, and slowly, slowly I'll just get rid of them all, hopefully. So it's been a hot and sweaty and smoky, and I'm not gonna lie, somewhat unenjoyable job sorting out this burn pile, but I'm really happy with the results. I've finally gotten rid of that eyesore pile of wood, and things are just looking a lot more clean and pleasant. And that makes me very happy, because seeing the clutter disappear is incredibly motivating, and if I can tidy terrace by terrace, little by little, the whole place will benefit as a result, and it's just very satisfying to be outside again. Even though today has been hot, sweaty, and smoky and not the greatest, it's still lovely to see results. Okay guys, I actually have to go pick up some clay from my friend, so we're gonna be back in the bathroom in the next video to hopefully finish that off completely. And then after that, we'll be back outside working on the crack shack. I've dedicated March to this project that's been looming for a very long time, and I have the wood I need, so I'm gonna dive into that as soon as the bathroom is done. All right, that's it from this video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.